Okay. Hey, Kyle. I want to just first say congratulations for everything that you've done. It's amazing what you put together. And my personal opinion. Oops, did I lose you for a second?
I'm
Did
here.
I, did I just lose you?
I'm here.
Oh, good. I think this is a really important movie, a very important film for people to see. I think there are so many aspects of it that took so much work and research and coordination and the cast, just choosing the cast and the complexities and the collaboration. It's just mind
Oh,
blowing what you did.
wow. That means a lot. Thank you, Christine. Thank you. Yes, you're right. It did take all of those things. So it's feel very seen for right now. Thank you. Yeah.
I don't know if you had a chance to look at some of the questions that I had sent over to you. And what I was, I'll just pull them up myself too, so you can see. But um,
Yeah. Anything you like, ask away.
well, I had written them down, so I want to get to those if I can. If I can just find them, 1 second. But one of the ones that I really was interested in was what was the research that it took for you to be able to move between among those scenes where you had so much historic reference that you need to get to with Vietnam and Afghanistan, and then you go into the modern day complexities. And I was wondering what the research entailed with that.
That was the easiest part. Basically none, because it's all just my true story. It's my own lived experience in the military and being deployed, and then group therapy and therapy. So it was all incredibly subjective. And then in terms of the Vietnam veterans experience, that's my grandfather. I mean, Ed Harris plays my grandfather. So many of his lines are just transcribed from my memory in conversations with my grandfather. And I have been dedicated my life to telling our story, military and veteran stories. So it's kind of like a conversation that I've been having for over 20 years. And it was just a matter of, I've been doing it in PSAs for the VA and mental health campaigns and all different kinds of things specifically about veterans. And this was just kind of like a new version of it in a feature film and kind of through characters. But yeah, it was all, everything in here is autobiographical. So that part was easy.
I think the part about it though is that I just want to give you offer a different perspective too on that. I always say to people when they say something was easy and it just came like that sometimes we forget that it came easily to you because of all of that experience and all the time that you had spent and listening to your grandfather and all of that. So in a way, that's your whole existence
Oh,
has been research for this is what it sounds like, the culmination, which is like, wow, how lucky are
you know,
you,
you're
man?
you're you're actually, well, I mean, you're right. And I mean, I guess said a different way, it was easy because it was hard for a long time. Yeah, this film is based on my own journey with PTSD and losing friends and learning to and being very resistant to talk therapy and talking about it at all, and eventually having some sense knocked into me by Vietnam veterans. And then, through the VA, I mean, speaking of just hard research, like when it comes to trauma and talk therapy and different modalities and things that are effective and that's the stuff I've been doing kind of at a very like academic, even government level, like VA's perspective on all these things. And so, yeah, that stuff all came through a lot of experience in terms of but even the way that Morgan Freeman's character talks to Merritt in the group setting and just kind of like the tough love, you have to be careful. And not everybody is in their same place when they're getting ready to talk about something or resistant to talk about something. And so you kind of have to meet people where they are. So yeah, I actually worked very hard to it still has to be an entertaining film where characters have conflict and motivation, but I also wanted it to be true to what clinicians would be able to relate to. And that's been some of the highest praise is from mental health professionals saying that it really resonated with them, but then also veterans feeling like, yep, that was me. I see myself in Merritt and these other veterans in the group. So yeah.
I love it. It touched, it resonated with me. It touched on my own experiences with grief. It sort of validated the use of I call it almost a coping mechanism, to get through.
100% coping mechanism. Yeah.
It really is. We all do all different kinds of things, and but definitely that is one, and it hasn't really been brought out in the light that you did. So I loved it. Tell me about this cast. They were incredible. The collaboration was just popping off. I mean, it was amazing to see the synergy. How did you pull it off? I mean, my gosh, Morgan Freeman. I mean, your cast is amazing, Kyle. How'd you do it?
I wrote letters, and in the military, I mean, there's a lot more than that, but that's the fun way to say it. In the military, in the Judge Advocate General's branch, JAG, their motto is "The pen is mightier than the sword," and I really take that to heart. And so, I'm a writer, obviously, so I not just screenplays, but everything you write is important. And there's a lot of different ways to write something to someone, especially someone as busy and in demand as Ed Harris and Morgan Freeman and Sonequa Martin-Green. So I spent many days crafting these letters, and not only how I said things and what order I said things, but there was a lot of content in there. The proof of concept short that I had made was already right there, so they could watch it. The script was right there. It wasn't just the first or the second draft; it was like the 20th draft that had been workshopped. I have a deck, a pitch deck that I have spent 15 years in the commercial industry, really honing that craft in terms of visual communication. And, actors just want to know that they are in good hands. And so you get one shot, at that. And, in a nutshell, Ed was the first to sign on. We went to him first. I wanted to cast that my grandfather's role first. Once Ed was on board, and he is such a mention, he's just the best guy ever. Then that makes other conversations easier for, it's now you've got an Ed Harris picture. So then came Sonequa and Natalie. I chose them not only for their incredible acting chops, but because they're both activists and they want to do shit. They want to change culture and things like that. So, and then after them, it was Utkarsh Ambudkar, and he's just, the levity that he brings, and then Gloria Rubin to play my mother. And then, yeah, eventually Morgan Freeman, and that was the same thing. It was a letter, and the cool thing about Morgan is I was able to, I think I addressed him as Airman First Class Freeman because he's a veteran as well. So we were able to have that.
You're able to have that connection. So talk about your character in the film.
Yeah, so I guess my character is named Merritt, and that's played by Sonequa Martin-Green, and yeah, I guess I don't know what to say other than it's autobiographical in terms of my journey of losing friends, my journey with post-traumatic growth. I really would like people to start using that language, because it's not a disorder. I mean, I understand why we call it that and things like that, and it's fine. People can call, just like Merritt says in the film, shell shock, combat stress, PTSD. We're talking about whether it's war or something else, when human beings have a normal reaction to an abnormal thing that happened to them, that's real, and so yeah, it was just pouring my guts out onto the page, and but then doing it in a way where there was room for others to make it their own. And I chose to change the genders of myself and of Zoe, who's based on my dead friend, for a very specific reason, because I didn't have the opportunity to serve alongside women in the military. I was a paratrooper in the infantry. boys and girls don't go together in those things. That's changed. It's been a long time coming, so women can serve in those combat roles. Um, but when I was in, that wasn't the case. And so it wasn't until a decade later that I was doing this mental health campaign for the VA, and I interviewed hundreds of female veterans and just was educated on their experiences and how they do the exact same thing that we do and all of the things that women have to deal with. And it just didn't seem right that those stories hadn't been portrayed. And so when it came time for me to tell my story, I knew it would be about myself, but it would be for everybody. It'd be half my stuff, and there'd be room for other people to fill it up. And so that's where the chair of merit was born, and Sonequa filled it in a way that I couldn't even imagine.
It's such a wonderful twist. It's extremely unique. It's very effective. And you use the word mensch. And I think that is the word that I would use for you
Yeah.
declaratively. You really are. You really are a mensch, and you're extremely talented. And I just really want to give you as much support as I possibly can in any way. It was moving. It was really moving for me and for I brought a friend with me, and we both came out resonating. I was like, I did the same thing. And I even cast one of the people as Morgan Freeman in my head, this man who was taking care of my mom. She was
Wow.
in the hospital, and one of those moments she was strapped down to the bed and just gonzo bonkers. And I came down, there was blood. I mean, just one of these horrible scenes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was an orderly there, and in my head, honestly, Kyle, I switched it. It was,
That was the
oh, that's
Morgan.
Morgan
Yeah.
Freeman. I can
Yeah.
deal with this now. I'm going to be okay, and but I never told anybody about that until I saw your film.
Wow.
Honestly.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah. So
Well,
I'm
yeah, thank you
really,
for
really
sharing that.
proud of you. Hmm?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for offering to help. I mean, I will take you up on it. This is
Yes.
an independent film. There was no streamer, there was no big studio. We made this film completely outside the studio system. It was raised, like a third of the budget was raised by everyday individuals through Legion M, which is this amazing kind of grassroots fundraising company. Um, so we need people to see this movie in theaters for literally for us to even just like pay our bills, so to speak. And one of the things that I have learned in this distribution Hollywood game too is, you know, artists and filmmakers only get paid when you go to see it in a movie theater for the most part. If people wait for it until streaming, you're giving your money to the corporate overlords. And so we hope, and I appreciate people like you, Christine, if you can tell people it's in theaters February 28th, 2 weeks from today. We're so it's nationwide, 700 plus screens. So it's everywhere. And we just hope people will turn up. And the way I've been phrasing it is like, if you want to send a little bit of a fuck you or like to damn the man, like just do it with your money and go to the movie theater. And that is all Hollywood pays attention to is box office. So I don't have anything against superhero movies. I like them too. But if you guys want to see original films, see them in a movie theater. And I think this is a pretty good one. So hopefully people will turn up in theaters.
Well, I'll do everything I can, and Maggie, stay connected with me, and I'll just